Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about this article on MSN. Bosses are firing Gen X left and right, and honestly, we see why. Now, before you
kiss my ass,
before you get all offended, because we've talked about Gen Z getting fired, millennials getting fired. This outlet literally posted the exact same thing in December, but it was bosses are firing millennials left and right, and honestly, we see why. So
same,
I think they got,
same author.
No, but same outlet. So I think they got a lot of mileage off the ones. Now they're going for Gen X. And
or is this one of those like auto-generated headline type situations?
That's what I'm wondering.
Joke about.
Yeah, like, oh, this will get maximum click through. People are pissed though. Actually, I want to leave the comments because people are really freaking pissed.
Good.
And they're pointing out that Gen X is pretty resilient, and it sounds like this was written by Gen Z or AI, which is also possible. But
my money's on AI since there's two articles credited different people with the exact same thing.
Yeah. But it's interesting because some of the points they make are actually valid as to why Gen X gets fired, and it comes down to money. It comes down to age, money, expectations. Gen X expects more from the workplace. Usually they expect more professionalism.
Were they saying the same things about millennials, or were they saying different things about millennials?
The millennials are cheaper. They're more. Oh no, millennials are more tech savvy, which is laughable.
No, I mean in the other article where they.
Oh yeah, we'll compare. We'll go. I didn't read the other article. We'll go look at. Yeah, we'll talk techno stress. Oh my God, that's the thing. We'll talk about this. We're gonna talk about. We're gonna talk about Gen X, but I think it's so weird because they're trying to point out. I did go through this, and they're like, well, Gen X is tech savvy. I'm like, bitch, we grew up. We were there at the beginning when the computers were first introduced. Like, it was like, we remember a time before computers. We remember analog, and we basically learned to crawl with the technology. So most of the tech leaders today, the big ones, are Gen X or older millennials, right? But whatever, just keep talking out your ass. We're going to talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, you'll get a woohoo if you do.
Woohoo.
You will also get a woohoo. Speaking of woohoos, go out to Kickstarter. Very limited time. We're going to be offering Crimson Wren again. The first one. We're getting ready to do Volume 2 hopefully this fall. We got Jose working on art already. And you can also pick up some things that were not available the first time around, including pins, stickers. We've got D20 trading cards we're working on. And if you want to get those Shadow Binders pins, if you missed out on those, we have a very limited supply of those left as well. So check it out on
And you don't
Kickstarter.
have to buy the book. You can just buy the other stuff if you missed it, if you already have the book.
Yeah. We have it set up that you can just buy the other stuff. There you go. So thank you for any support. Let's talk about this. We are I guess Zennials, I guess is what they call it, because we are, depending on who you ask.
It depends where you look. It's either we're very, very late Gen X or we're Zennial. But most of the things I've seen was like late Gen X.
Very late Gen X. But, that being said, our generation is definitely built from different stuff. I saw a video the other day. It was one of those like cheesy animated psychology videos or whatever on YouTube, but they were talking about why Gen X is so different and how they're kind of made of sterner stuff because, a lot of us were latchkey kids. A lot of us kind of had to raise ourselves. They said
a lot of us were taught critical thinking skills.
Critical thinking. The reason that we're so critical is that we are used to disappointment.
We're the fuck you generation.
We are the fuck you generation. We've learned to cope. I had a very, very typical, I think, Gen X upbringing. I was a latchkey kid. Everybody was working all the time. I left the house, wouldn't come back for hours. Nobody knew where the hell I was. We didn't have cell phones, the whole thing. So anyway, we're getting fired, and actually some of these reasons I can relate to because being of a certain age and having years of experience, you are more expensive. And also you're not just going to go along with whatever the fuck your 20-year younger
it's against what you pay
tells.
for. And there was a time, and you fell into it when you were, in their 30s and stuff, where they considered you over the hill and you're too for tech. And the thing is, they turned around and went back and got people that were your age later because you guys knew what the fuck you were doing.
Yeah. And that's
I'm sorry. But
that's actually in tech right now. That is happening, and that's what's so weird to see this headline because we're hearing basically every generation thinks they're getting fucked over, Gen Z and millennials think they're getting screwed over, and Gen X though doesn't complain about it too much.
Well, that's why I always say the lost generation, because you always hear about the boomers, and then we get blamed for everything the boomers did. Like I keep seeing these viral videos where Gen Xers react to these idiotic kids putting out these videos about it's all your fault, Gen X, and everything else. Gen X are rude. It's like, well, one, kiss my ass, but two, they're blaming us for stuff that we didn't even do. It was like the boomers, and it's like the baby boomers. And I'm like, that wasn't even us. It's like,
I know
your story straight.
But we don't usually correct them. Now, if you get in our faces, we will certainly have words. And I think this is why we get along so fantastically with all these millennials and Gen Z people online. Anyway. This is coming from Finance Buzz. So let's see what they have to say. It says Gen X is in a tough spot. They're not the wide-eyed newcomers who will work for less, and they're not the entrenched executives who hold the final say. Instead, they sit in the middle, experienced, expensive, and often overlooked. That combination.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. That combination has made them a target as companies cut back. So if you want to stay on the right track to build wealth as Gen X, it's worth knowing why Gen X is often the first in line for layoffs and what you can do to stay secure. You're too expensive.
That's bullshit. Anyway.
Well, it's interesting, though, as far as the experience, expensive, and overlooked. I mean...
Well, that's true, but I'm saying what you can do to avoid layoffs. And I'm like...
work for yourself, kiss more ass, I don't know. Get to another field. But, I spent most of my life being like... And it's not to brag or whatever, but I was like the guy in the chair for most of the jobs I've had, where I was making it all. People who watch Star Trek,
it made him unhealthy too, like because he's always in a chair, and he's changed that since. But yeah, it was hurting his back and everything else. He was the guy in the chair.
But I was the guy in the chair, and for those who watch Star Trek, the episode with the aliens they kidnap Geordi, and they don't understand how to fly their own spaceship, so they're like, "Make it go, make it go." That was my job. My job was to make it go for years. Sit in the fucking chair and make it go so my boss could get fist bumps. Various bosses I've had could get fist bumps, and they wouldn't get rid of me for the longest time because I was the guy in the chair. But then, you get to a certain point where, I want paid more, and they don't want to give it. They don't want to give it to you, right?
I'm a trophy wife.
You are the trophy wife, yeah.
Not far from a trophy wife. Anyway.
You're looking at me, you're like, make it go. It's like, yeah, baby, I'll make it go. Right in the afterburner. Anyway, Gen X salaries make them easy targets. This is what I ran into. By mid-career, Gen Xers earn more than younger colleagues. That's great for household finances, but makes them a bullseye when companies need to shrink payrolls.
That's true. Usually the higher paying people they get rid of.
Yep.
And replace you with they get rid of 3 people, replace it with one low paying person because they'll do the work of 3 people for lower pay.
Well, the problem is they're finding out though is that they were doing this. They were cutting.
You get what you pay for.
Older people, and then they would bring these Gen Z in that don't know what the fuck they're doing, or they'd need a mental health day or some shit. Nah, it'd be millennials, but you know what I'm saying? Or they wanted to go start their own business. Yeah, so it didn't work out. So from a business standpoint, one Gen X salary might cover 2 fresh hires. That math is hard for leadership to ignore, which can lead to middle management positions being targeted when finances get tight. That's true.
Those 2 fresh hires might be idiots.
Well, that's just it. It's kind of was a military term, I think, up or out. Like you have to either advance or get out. And that happens especially when you're working in tech or marketing or, something like white collar job. You either have to advance, you either have to become the boss or you become a threat to the boss. Like it's weird, but there's a psychology around it. Like if they know you make it go and you're there, and they're there, and people find out that you're the one making it go, and they can't boss you around because you guys started at the same time. Whatever, there will be issues, and you will be a threat, and they'll think stupidly maybe you want their job or whatever. And times I'm like, I don't want your fucking job, but you pretty much have to.
I thought we were slackers.
Yeah, we're slackers, right? But no, you have to either have to move up the food chain or go do something else because you're not going to be allowed to. Retire at 60 something with your 60 something boss and you're doing all the work. That's just not going to happen. Tech stereotypes work against them. Okay, this is hard. This is bullshit. Gen X knows their way around a smartphone, but they didn't grow up with them. Younger employees are seen as more adept with automation, AI, and new digital tools.
Wait a minute. But Gen X were the ones who would program the websites and all that stuff back in the day. They could do programming themselves. Most of you go to Wix.
We fucking built all of it. Elon Musk. is the whole that Grok thing, the XAI thing. Like we built the internet, bitches. We built the fucking internet. Okay. Today, many jobs require digital skills. Even what the fuck? Even in industries that aren't traditionally very tech savvy, even if Gen Xers are perfectly capable, the perception that they're slower to adapt makes them more replaceable. Well, maybe if they're not on their fucking phone all the time, they'll get some actual work done.
Well, that's just it. Like, a lot of the Gen X people, I mean, not you, but a lot of people I've seen, they aren't glued to their phone 24/7. They aren't like, I'm going to be a phone activist. You know what I mean? It's either the boomers who are at home alone and they're really mad because Fox News said, or it's these young people, like the Gen Alphas or the Gen Zs at college or work. They don't want to do their job, so they're on their phone doing activist stuff. Most of Gen X is like, don't care. It's like, I'm doing my job. I'm doing things that matter.
Okay, this is how I know this is bullshit. Remote work reshaped expectations. They're basically saying Gen X expects you to be at work at your desk, which is true. But they're like, well, now so many people working remote. I'm like, this is wishful fucking thinking. This is not fucking true because we just did a story talking about Ubisoft and how they're getting rid of people because they want them back in the office. Because they're more productive. Not everybody, but some people you gotta sit on. You gotta make sure they're actually doing their job, right?
It's also remote work isn't a new thing. It got really big because of COVID, but you had remote jobs many times
in the 2000s. Yeah, and yeah. I was a freelance designer developer for years. All my clients were across the country. Some of them were across the world, and but you have to earn the right. You have to earn the right to do that. You have to be trustworthy enough to be able to do that because most employers aren't going to let you. Yeah, this is bullshit. Age bias, age discrimination is illegal. That's probably true.
I think it was worse before now. It was worse 15, 20 years ago, I think, than it is now.
There are numerous assumptions surrounding older workers, such as that they're less trainable or nearing retirement like a dog. It's because we've seen your bullshit before. We know all the tricks and we're not falling for it. Middle managers face disappearing roles. That's probably true. A disproportionate number of Gen X are getting laid off. Investment in training favors younger workers. Not anymore. This is wrong.
They have to train the younger workers how to interact with each other. They have to teach kids how to read in college. They were doing programs on here's how you interact at work and how you fit in and how you do your job.
The World Economic Forum highlights widespread skills disruption ahead, and who gets training matters. No, it's a lot of Gen Z. They don't want anything to do with the AI shit.
Employers may prioritize earlier career hires for longer term investments, meaning they're going to train them. They're literally doing seminars about how to be a person and how to work with other people because the people you're hiring don't know how to talk to others. And that could be a liability if they're not trained. We did a whole video on it. I thought it was a good idea but I think colleges should make sure that people are ready for that. But if they're investing more, it's because the people that are Gen X don't need to be trained how to interact with other people.
Oh my God, this is this is bullshit. The comments are really what the meat of the video is.
Well, we're 13 minutes in and we haven't even got there.
I know, but okay, so Gen Xers so basically visibility and metrics drive job security because Gen X doesn't constantly tweet about every fucking thing that they do. They might get cut because people don't know what they're actually doing, right?
Bullshit. I don't buy that. They're gonna like you because you're not out there being on your phone or social media 24/7. You're actually doing your job. And it's not the company's business to know what you do when you're not
such bullshit. Work. This is bullshit. Okay, so here we go.
Yeah,
Here's
I'm waiting for the comments because that's what you were talking about for the video.
All right, I was laid off from my job 18 years after we were bought out. Gen X are here. Okay, here we go. LOL, this article must have been written by AI or Gen Z. Gen X adjusted from writing to typing to computers to AR, VR, and now AI. We understand change more than any newer generation. That's true. We actually remember the before times, right? We do. Adaptable, innovative, and resourceful, massive networks of other professionals. Good luck replacing them when they leave. I've run large organizations. The only challenge is keeping them. Worth every penny. Strike that every nickel. 100%, people are saying. Gen X is more independent and appreciate individuality, which is a big no-no in today's lame work environment. As a Gen Xer, I can honestly say I've replaced 5 engineers when I was an engineer. I ran my own company for 14 years, completely turned failing IT cloud infrastructure projects around by streamlining processes. My last project, I was doing the work of 6 project managers and keeping the entire account on track. Like a lot. Look, Gen X basically built the fucking internet that we're all using now. Didn't invent it, but we perfected it. not we, but you know what I'm saying. So like, don't sit there and say that we don't know what the fuck we're talking about when it comes to tech. Like, we actually understand how it works. We didn't come into it and be like, oh, here's my phone. It just magically appeared. It's like, bitch, we saw them, how we got to this point. We saw the whole fucking thing. You have no idea. You grew up with, Netflix always being a thing, right? It's like, yeah. Seriously. Once again,
the iPad generation is what they call the alpha kids of the late Gen Zs, and it's like you've only ever known the internet. Try it. You guys wouldn't be able to do anything if you actually had to go to the library and look shit up.
This is funny. Once again, Gen X are 45 to 61 years old. I'd say a little older than that, but we grew up with the internet, social media, and cell phones. We may not like all of them, but we know how to use every platform. We can still write in cursive, yes, and use punctuation.
Yeah, we'll all start doing that so that the younger people don't know what the fuck we're talking about.
This person says almost all that even didn't exist until I was 30 or 40. If you grew up with all those things, you're not Gen X. No, he got 42 downvotes because, yeah, what an idiot. Yeah, the web was useless until 95 for regular. Oh, this person's trying to explain, well, I was 28 in 95. Regular people didn't have cell phones until the 90s. You're not actually Gen X. It's like, shut the fuck up. We had computers on carts. We had Apples they used to bring around to the classroom, and we were like 7 years old. We all took turns.
People were using the internet before, in the 90s.
I was using the internet in the 80s. I was on Prodigy in like, oh my God, 88 or 89.
Yeah, but that's because you were in a bigger area that had it. Like a lot of people, though, it was the dial-up shit, but people had computers. We had computers in the 90s, and my sister had a cell phone in the late 90s. I was watching the C-drama the other day, which I really like, and the one person in the comments was like, did they even have laptops in 1999? I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, they were expensive as hell.
They weren't the most, of course they had them. They weren't the most easy to use. And they were big too, and they were heavy. But it's like they existed.
This person here is like, I'm secure in my job and feel because I'm Gen X, not in spite of it. And this person's like, go ahead and fire Gen X and replace them with Gen Z. Gen Z will sit on their phone, show up late, if at all, demand that your company adheres to their values, and require their employers to let them bring their emotional support animal to work. Good luck with that.
I honestly think that a lot of the millennials, that are older millennials, just honestly are more Gen Z than they are millennial. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or so Gen X, I mean. Gen X than they are millennial. Oh, so many late alphabet.
I don't fucking know. Like, anyway, this is so the same damn article a couple months ago probably got a lot of mileage. Finance buzz again. Bosses are firing millennials left and right, and we see why. They said, as an entitled generation that had to weather some significant upheaval at work, millennials are getting fired in droves with a focus on... So literally everybody's getting fired. Just say everybody's getting fired. The boomers are fired. The Gen Xers are fired.
Yeah,
so. Yeah, they're the only ones who can afford to retire. Contrary to popular belief, most of Gen X cannot afford to retire as comfortably as the boomers. Just saying. The focus on building wealth over building a career, those born between 81 and 96 are finding they're not as secure as they thought. Techno stress and burnout.
Wow.
Techno stress. What the fuck is that? Soft skills gap. They struggle with crucial soft skills.
What's soft skills?
I don't know, especially coming out of the work from home lifestyle during COVID. As many companies have return to office mandates. I thought everybody was working at home now.
Yeah, that was a problem for Gen X because they learned how to work in an office.
Anxiety.
But who doesn't fucking have anxiety?
AI-driven job reductions. I thought.
Who isn't facing that?
That was the future. Economic uncertainty in lower level roles. Unrealistic expectations and trophy kid syndrome.
Okay,
lack of long-term. Yeah, I get that. Desire for autonomy versus traditional hierarchies. Oh, that was like, what was that? No, it was Ubisoft. They're basically talking about the hierarchical structure of the company and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, but they said autonomy. Wasn't Gen X in trouble because they're individuals?
They're too individual.
They're too individual.
Is that basically
the same thing, just worded differently?
Yeah, no investment in the company's success. Millennials move around jobs so frequently and have little connection to their place of work. Yeah, that's true.
That we used to see the people that were not that much younger than us, but like a bit younger than us. They knew they weren't going to. I mean, to be fair, they knew they weren't going to get any further, so they just go to another company and get what they wanted, and that was a trend for a long time.
This is ridiculous. This is just ridiculous. This is all bullshit. Basically, I feel like we've got.
You sound like, get off my lawn.
I do.
Man,
but no, I mean, we've got this whole thing going on. We've talked about these videos. We do the Gen Z videos because everybody's like, using Gen Z as a punching bag right now. But I think there is generational, like, class warfare going on. I think basically
no one's asking for it, but except for the social media
so there's something
trying to make some, something, yeah.
Like,
we're here for it. We'll cash in on it too. Works for me.
Yeah, it's fine. But I'm just saying, like, I will tell you that the majority, not everybody, because there are some like real losers out there, but the majority of Gen X are pretty resourceful, pretty resilient, and they're not going to put up with your bullshit. I mean,
we actually were like, I don't know. I think in boomers to some extent too. It was you and people before them. You had to be creative. Like now everything's kind of handed to you in a way. But like you had to solve problems. You had to think outside the box to solve problems, and we do that all the time. We have to be problem solvers, and I don't think people are as good as solving problems.
When we did the Gen Z videos, and we're talking about people getting fired, Gen Z getting fired, and the advice we gave was, well, go make your own job. Mm-hmm. And people were like, that's hard. That's easier said than done. I'm like,
yeah, right?
Yeah, right. We used to play with a cardboard box, for God's sake.
We aren't telling you to think we don't do ourselves. You know what I mean?
I've had to do it a couple of times.
You have to think of new ways. You cannot, if you just wait for your turn, you're going to be waiting forever. If you just, if you're just lazy and want it all handed to you, it's not going to happen. No. And I think a lot of people just need to learn to think outside the box, not just in work, just in general. Like, I get concerned, like, how are you going to solve problems in life when you can't even solve simple things?
Yeah, I know, right? It's like, oh my God, you're freaking out because there's no Wi-Fi for an hour. What are you gonna do?
It's just something happens. You gotta think of ways. I'm not talking about just work. I'm talking about things in your everyday life at home, or you gotta think of new ways to do it. You're gonna have to think, okay, I don't have this. What can I do? And think outside the box.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just it's weird. I mean, everything I have seen personally is that a lot of younger workers are getting fired. That they will take one, older millennial or Gen X employee that maybe costs more, and they'll take that one person over 2 or 3 younger people that don't have the experience. But eventually, we're all going to age out of the workforce. Mm. So then what happens? I don't know. If we're looking at the millennials, it's like, I don't know. Good luck with that. But there's definitely a different attitude toward work, though. I feel like our generation, again, because we had one foot in both worlds, was the last generation that still kind of looked at like, well, you go to work, you do your job, you show up, you do the best job you can do for your employer. You don't bitch about shit unless you have to. And it seems like everybody else now has this really like acrimonious relationship with the workforce.
Oh, you have to go in and make sure the company's doing
the activism,
social programs that you appreciate and respect. And I'm like, whatever, don't care. Let's just go do our job and then go the fuck home. We don't care.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just do it well and leave.
Yep, that's it. But I don't know. Anyway, that's bullshit. We're going to wrap it up.
Yes.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.